Hi Stampers, it's Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. Welcome to today's live. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I go live right here on Facebook and YouTube every Monday and Thursday at 2:30, usually with some sort of a fun fold card, and that's what we're doing today. As always, I'm using all Stampin' Up! Products and everything can be purchased in my online store. Today we're using one of the fun folds. It is actually in one of my fun fold books, so you might want to go check that out. We're doing a pop-up flip card. And I'm working on thank you cards this week, so I'm excited to show you how it's done. There we go. Okay, so this is today's card, and I'm using the Reindeer Fun Designer Series paper. It's kind of a non-Christmassy, but still winterish, so I figured it would work for today. I pulled my colors of Shaded Spruce and Granny Apple Green straight out of my Designer Series paper. I'm using the stamp set My Small Business, just because I was looking through my stash. I wanted something that had a large thanks that I could use in my card. And while a lot of these are made for small businesses, not all of them are. They can be used for a variety of reasons. So I'm excited to show you how we're going to do today's card. Okay, to start out with, we're going to have a card base. Again, I'm using Shaded Spruce, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. It's a standard base. We have two standard layers. I have 4 by 5 1/4 in a Designer Series paper, and 4 by 5 1/4 by 4 by 5 1/4 in basic white that we're going to use on the inside. And then I've got two pieces for my mechanism. And first off, I want this kind of block that I have in the middle that I'm using as my prop, kind of. So that one is 3 by 4, scored at 1, 2, and 3. And then I have one just a little bit narrower. It's probably 2 3/4. And I did the same thing. Actually, I want this to be half of this. Okay, so this one I want to just to be 2 by 2 3/4, scored at 1, because this is this right here. Okay, there's kind of an L-shaped bracket there. When I did this with an oval and a circle, I actually did it with a 3/4 inch piece. That was my bracket that popped it open. So if you've seen some of my other videos, it may have been a much narrower piece. But I found out when I was working with this long and narrow of a piece, when I just had that 3/4 inch in the middle, then it kind of wobbled. It didn't stay straight. And so my making it wider gave it much more stability. So again, 3 by 4, scored at 1, 2, and 3, and then 2 3/4 by 2, scored at 1. Oh, and then I just had some leftover. When I cut all my pieces, I had a little strip of Designer Series paper. I figured we'll just use that as an accent on the inside. No use wasting Designer Series paper, right? Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to adhere my Designer Series paper to the front. And I want it adhered all the way around the outside edge, but I don't want it adhered in the middle because I'm going to cut through the Designer Series paper and through the cardstock. And I want to be able to separate the two and use just the cardstock for this one and use the DSP for another card. Oh, congratulations to Jeanne for being Monday's winner. You want to go to queenbeecreations.net/prize patrol. That will take you to a Google form where you will claim your prize. The way she won that is that she liked and shared the video. So if you want to win today's card, that's your task for today, is to share me with your friends and like the video. It is freezing cold here. We're supposed to get snow this weekend, so we'll see. Let me turn that text off so it's not distracting. Okay, so I'm going to adhere this, like I said, just giving it some stuff around the outside edge. I don't use our adhesive like continuously. I don't drag it around the whole thing because it's really strong adhesive. It honestly doesn't need that much. And I find when I just make small amounts in the corners, I usually do like 3/4 of an inch in each corner and then leave it at that. And it sticks really well. I have never had any problems with them coming apart. It's not straight here. And it saves me money by not having to replace my cartridge quite so often. So there is our designer series paper, and then I'm going to take the Countryside Corners dies. I'm using the 3rd one down. So I'm going to take the larger one and I'm going to cut a hole right out of the front of our card. And look, that one's going to have a deer right on the edge of that designer series paper. So that's why I want to be able to use the middle. That's such a cute piece. That's going to look great on another card. So I have the larger cut and emboss machine because this piece is wider. So I'm doing this off to the side. When I have smaller pieces, I usually bring in my cut and emboss machine into the screen and show you. But you know how to die cut, right? Okay, so I ran it through the machine. And then I'm going to take just a scrap of white, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to die cut a piece of white out of one size down. I know you can hear my die cutting machine making all sorts of noises. And I know newer stampers always kind of panic. Oh my gosh, it made this cracking sound. Well, they kind of do. Don't panic. It doesn't mean it's broken. Okay. And then also the dies will cut into the plastic. So I try to keep a nicer one on top if I'm using 2 of the clear plates. I say if, because normally it would take 2 clear plates, but I use the precision base plate because it does not nick. This is something I have in my Amazon store. And then I only need 1 plate on top. But if you're using 2 clear plates, you want the crummy one to be on the bottom and the nicer one on top. Because the way the dies cut is they're going to cut into the bottom one because you're running it, face down, and this little part right here, that's what's actually doing the cutting, and that's going to cut into the plate, and it's okay. They just do that. Okay, so here we have just the middle cut out. And then I know I want to put this on the inside, but I'm going to go ahead and adhere this on first. We could do it on that side, or we can use this side. I think I like the way his head's peeping in on this side, so I'm going to do that. And I do this first because usually the piece I have is a little bit too long, because I like to make it a little long and then cut off from the back side so that I'm never too short. And as I said, I only do a little bit in each corner. So really, when you're using those less expensive, the big box store adhesives, get the light to catch it, they require a lot more adhesive. And so you're not really saving that much money because the amount you need to use kind of makes up for the price difference, I think. So they say our stuff's a little pricey, but it's worth it because it's really good quality. You kind of get what you pay for, I think. So here I have my 3x4. I'm going to burnish that with the bone folder so it's good and burnished. And I'm also making sure I'm square on the edges. Anybody take advantage of the free shipping we've had the last 3 days? That was kind of an exciting surprise that they did that in time for Christmas, because you can, they're saying, as long as everything goes normal with the Postal Service, Stampin' Up! Thinks you will get any product that you order up until Friday will come before Christmas. So if your husband's looking to get you something for Christmas, or you want to work on gift cards or create a wish list, let me know. I'm happy to help. Stampin' Up! Store does have the ability to create a wish list right within the store that you can then email to your loved ones, and they can shop directly off of that, and you'll get exactly what you want for Christmas. I do have a video on my YouTube channel showing how that's done. It's really simple. And you can create more than one wish list. So if you have one for your husband and one for your kids, you know, you can alternate them as to who they're going to. Okay, so I put just the one piece down on there, and I buttered it kind of up to the score line, but not interfering with it. I want the card to still close. So just right up to it, not over it. Then I closed it this way and put some adhesive on the top, and then we're just going to close the card. And so you'll see the score line kind of comes out a little bit, but that's okay, because our first piece we're going to put in there is going to cover all that up. So now you can see how it's kind of a little shelf on the inside. So you can do different things with this. If you had not cut the hole in the front of the card, you could put another piece on top of this and kind of make it look like a table. You can make flowers pop up out of it. You can turn it on its side and have the opening on the top, and then you can have flowers actually come up and out of it. There's lots of little things you can do with these cute little brackets. So as I said, I'm saving this one for another card, but I do want the green. That's why there was no adhesive in the middle. And I'm going to take my bracket that's going to hold this, and I'm going to adhere it down on there. So we're going to put adhesive right here. And again, I'm using a little more than normal because it's going to get a lot of movement. That's probably where I should have used tear and tape or a Seal Plus. Okay, so I have my bracket. Oops. And with it closed, I put adhesive right there, and then I'm just going to take this piece that we had cut out and put it right back into the hole it came out of. And then I'm going to push on this so it's good and adhered. And then it's going to pop. I think it would be fabulous if they did free shipping more often, but I hear shipping is one of their most expensive costs at Stampin' Up!, that what they charge nowhere near covers what they spend on it. So apparently having stock in the UPS and FedEx and all those guys is where all the money's at. All right, so now we have our pop-up mechanism. So now we're just down to the decoration. I mean, how simple and easy was that, right? So like I said, I'm going to take my stamp from the My Small Business. And I'm using this thanks right here. And I'm going to use shaded spruce ink because that coordinates with the designer series paper and the card base. And I'm making sure that I move the stamp like around on the pad, because we have a tendency to always just stamp straight in the middle, and that will push the ink out to the sides. So stamping evenly on it spreads the ink evenly on the foam pad. I'm going to try to stamp this down straight in the middle. The best way to do this would be to stand up and look straight down from the top. I don't do that because I don't want to get my head in the camera, but that's the best way to get it centered and straight, is to stand up and look straight down. And I'm going to right away clean my stamp. So I've got my Simply Chamois. I cut mine into 4 pieces, so they were just easier to use when I'm playing around, and even with the Stamparatus, or if you're using the Misty, the smaller pieces just seem easier to me. Then I'm going to be using the sponge daubers. I have a box of them, and I assign each one of them a color, and then I created this image that I laminated and stuck inside of the box that I got on scrapbook.com. And you can purchase the either the print off if you wanted to just print yours yourself at home, or if you wanted to order a laminated one and have it shipped. Both of those are available in my store on my website. Okay, so I'm just getting a little bit of Granny Apple Green onto the sponge dauber, and then just giving a little bit of accent to the edges of this one. Now, when you're doing this, the further that you kind of lean over, the more you're going to get on the edge. You know what I mean? If you're going to be really fine, you're barely going to get the edge this way. And if you go this way, it's going to be wider away from the edge. So the angle does make a difference. So if you're not getting quite enough effect, lean over a little further. I'm also using my fingers on the back to keep the piece steady, so that when I rub up against it, it has some stability to it. Okay, and there we go. There is our pop-up flip thank you card. Isn't that a fun one? I can't remember if it's in book 1 or book 2. I probably should have checked that before I went live. But I do have 2 of the Fun Fold tutorial books, and in these books there is an index at the front, and it tells you all of the various cards that are in here, and they're kind of broken down by interactive and pop-up, unique folds, gatefold cards. And then I have instructions and measurements based on if you were just creating any old card. It doesn't give you colors or stamp sets. It gives you just a card base, a white. Use these measurements. Here's all your instructions. And then if need be, there's a link to a YouTube video, and there are to scale drawings that I've done as well. So they are very helpful. They can be printed as an ebook or as a printed book like this. Pop-up flip, here it is, page 75 in book 1. So that's where you can find the printed directions on these, along with 50 other ones. Each of the books hold 50 patterns. So this. Okay, so thank you for Janet asks, what book is this in? I had to like mumble my way through it, but we found it. It's in volume 1. Any questions on how we made this card? See, several of you did take advantage of the free shipping. That's great. And remember, you want to like and share the video for your chance to earn this card. I will be mailing it out to someone probably next week. I have a little stack of cards once again. I kind of stack them up and then mail them out like maybe once or twice a week, because sometimes I need to go to the post office and see if they need a little bit of extra postage, because I tend to do things that are a little thicker than normal or not quite even. But they are fun fold cards. So I will be back here on Monday, which will be the 16th at 2:30 with another live. Can't wait to see you all then. Thanks. Bye.